Hey everyone, today I'll be reviewing the next Barraki Reimagined MOC Mantax. This MOC took me about 5 hours to build, and he's upwards of 400 pieces. Mantax is a little above average in the height department. Here he is up next to an 8-inch MOC. That's the very first MOC that I made for Barraki Reimagined. He's pretty cool, but not nearly as cool as Mantax to me. And here he is up next to a 5-inch MOC. So Mantax is probably 10 inches on the dot, maybe a little above that, which is a little bigger than most of the MOCs I make. I typically make 8-inch tall MOCs, so he slightly exceeds the regular height limit. I just try to stay under 10 inches though, typically just because I don't want to use too many pieces. I'll go ahead and start off the detailed review with the legs. As you can see, I made his legs very bulky, which is an interesting design choice. I don't really know why I made them so bulky, but when recreating these Barraki sets, I have to leave some parts up to my imagination and just get creative with it, because if you remember, the Barraki sets do not give you much to go off of for their legs, because their legs are kind of under-detailed. The only thing that's really the same here are these armor plates. Those were on the original set on his thighs, but besides that, there's not really anything that's similar. He had different feet too, but I decided to go with these feet because they're bigger than the ones he had, and they just look cooler in my opinion. I used 6 of this Bionicle foot piece around his legs just because they're so good at hiding things, and they actually really just slope the design of his lower legs. I think they look really cool. I used those big Hero Factory 1.0 shield pieces for his shins just to give him some bulk, and it really worked out. I really like his leg design. This is one of the best leg designs I've ever made. I think it works out really well. The back of his legs aren't too interesting, but they don't look bad either. I really like these tiny silver armor plates. I only have like 6 of those, so I use them sparingly. There's not really much else that I can show you. There's not really anything else that's just too interesting on his legs. I don't like how you can see light through his knee joint. If you keep his leg closed up like that, you can't see the light, but whenever you extend his leg, you can. That's unfortunate. A rookie mistake, really. It doesn't look very professional if you have his legs all the way extended and you can see that light, but you know, it doesn't really matter too much. It doesn't take away from the legs, especially if you're not looking for that. I think his legs look pretty good, and I think I did a pretty good job on the legs, even if they don't really look like his original leg design. Now that the legs are out of the way, I'll show you the arms. As you can see, I did not give this MOC the crossbow that the Barraki sets had, but I haven't come up with a good design for that yet, so I'm not going to be giving any of them a crossbow until I actually come up with a good design, and if I do, I will be making 6 of them and giving them to each of the Barraki Reimagined MOCs that I make, but right now, this cool hand piece will be going in place of the crossbows until I get a good design. I believe this piece originated from Waspix. It might have come out first in the Ben 10 sets, but I'm not completely sure. I don't remember exactly which came out first. I really like this forearm design. I think it looks cool with the gray Bionicle armor plate piece on bottom and the black one on top. That's one of the most usable Bionicle armor plate pieces. It's just very useful, and it fits into a great number of places that just other armor plates can't. As you can see, I used 2 of them on his upper arm. I really like the upper arm design. I think it looks pretty good. It does kind of limit his movement, though, because it's a very bulky design. So I probably should have gone with a smaller arm design, or at least a smaller bicep design, and I probably shouldn't have put this armor plate right there, but it just looks too cool. And this is more of a display MOC. This is not a MOC that is really going to be played with. It could, and I try to make all of my MOCs to where they would be able to be played with, but it probably would not be fun for a young kid to play with it because it doesn't have a great range of posability or anything. I really like this Crusher claw design. I think it looks really cool. The original set had 2 claws that you could move a little bit, so I decided to make mine have 6 claws that you could move pretty independently. These little ones don't really move quite as far back, but these big ones can move very far back. And that's a cool look also, but I like the almost closed look better. I think that looks a little scarier. I used 2 different types of claws. This is the claw that the set came with, and then this one came from some random Bionicle set that I don't remember where I got it from. But I just really like this claw design. I put these claws a little farther back because they're longer, so that all of them would meet at the very same place. And so it looks really cool when you close it all the way up. I try to be very precise to get them all even. It looks pretty cool. I really like this design. I think it's one of my favorite claw designs that I've ever made. I did a lot of weird techniques to cover the inside of this up because it looked really bad originally. As you can see, I connected some armor plates just using clips, and then some of them are just held in place by these wires that I wrapped around just to keep some of the pieces in place. This claw uses a lot of weird, unorthodox designs, and it looks kind of weird on the inside. If I took all these pieces off, you'd be like, why did he make it that way? It's kind of a dumb method that I used, but it worked out, and it's not really fragile, so I'm happy with it. And this upper arm is exactly the same as the other one. So that's all I have to say about the arms, and so now we can move on to the body. This MOC has a very streamlined body. As you can see, it's very smooth. Most of my MOCs, or at least some of my older MOCs, have a lot of angles and random armor plates just jutting out at weird places. But this MOC has a very smooth look, and I think it just makes them look a little more organic. I will never be the type of MOC maker to build something that actually looks like it could be living, because I'm just not good at doing things like that. I always put wires and different mechanical pieces, but this looks a little more organic than most of my MOCs, so I'm happy with that. The chest plate looks pretty good. That's just a standard Hero Factory chest plate in black. I used the original armor plates or shoulder plates that the MOC used, or I mean the set used. I put them at an angle too, so they're just overhanging his arms just a little bit. If I hadn't done that, they would be up and it would look kind of weird. So I put them at an angle, and that also makes them look pretty streamlined and cool. Around the back, I just used some big Bionicle armor plate pieces to cover up some colors and details that don't look so good. Looking at him from the top, you can see he's closed up pretty nicely from the top also. The body looks really good. That's almost my favorite part. But I would say the Crusher Claw is probably my favorite part. I really like his head too. Instead of giving him the original red eyes that he had, I gave him 2 black eyes just to make him look like a deep sea creature. Overall, I really like this MOC. He's definitely my favorite so far, and I'm just really pleased with how he turned out. Well, that's all I have to say about Mantax. I'll put 2 of the other Barraki Reimagined MOCs right next to him, and maybe this will give you an idea of what all of them will look like together. I can't wait to see that, all 6 of them together in their reimagined forms. And I'm also going to be making Spinax a reimagined form, because to me, he technically counts as a Barraki. And so this is what just 3 of them look like together. I hope this looks just as cool to you as it does to me. I know they all have their issues, and they're not the best MOCs I've ever made, but I think they'll look really cool together. Well, that's all I have for this video. I hope you'll stay tuned, like and subscribe if you haven't already, and check out some of my other MOC reviews.